Welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing world records on the world's computer, also known as the Internet Computer, built by Dfinity, the main developer and creator of the Internet Computer. Now, we have been covering the Internet Computer for years now, effectively since Internet Computer first launched and then had massive manipulation in the market from the likes of FTX and Alameda Research. But now we're in a whole new cycle. And Internet Computer is at world time record lows when you're talking about the price of Internet Computer. It's currently, when I'm recording this video, sitting around $5, which has pretty much been sitting at all year. But as we've been discussing, Internet Computer and the development of this network continues to advance, and we're now starting to see more AI capabilities built on the Internet Computer and other ecosystems tapping in to the Internet Computer to utilize the network for this decentralized compute capabilities, like Hedera and like some other chains that we've been talking about more recently. While this is great and all, there's other metrics that we need to focus on and look at to understand how this ecosystem is, stacking up to the rest of crypto, and also what are we seeing within the network. In my view, we are in the midst or entering an Internet Computer bull market. And that's what we're gonna be discussing on today's video. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Give this video a free thumbs up. We upload every single day to talk about crypto, blockchain, investing, and other news in the finance space. Sometimes we do deep dives into individual cryptos like we're doing today. And sometimes we just talk about the macro zoomed out financial picture to understand where to invest, how to invest, and what are the best investments for our portfolios. Nothing I say is financial advice, but let's get right into the Internet Computer entering the bull market. Now, we've been covering Internet Computer, like I said, for years, since the coin first launched, since the network first launched. Obviously, we know the price went from $800 down to $2. Looked like a rug pull. Maybe it was a rug pull, but there was obviously a lot of other, things going on in the market, and we've covered this extensively. FTX was clearly manipulating the price of Internet Computer and trying to bring them down because they wanted their network, FTT, Solana, to be the world computer, not for some other ecosystem like Internet Computer Protocol coming into the picture. Well, throughout the last 4 or 5 years, Dfinity, the development team behind Internet Computer, continued to develop the ecosystem of ICP and build out the capabilities. Now, Internet Computer is the fastest blockchain on the planet by far, surpassing Solana's transaction per second throughput and hitting about 12,000 transactions per second earlier this year, and now sitting in the 3,000 to 5,000 transaction per second range. This is very in line and slightly faster than Solana, which of course we know was built by and for the billionaires. But is ICP getting used, and how does Internet Computer actually enter the bull market? Because listen, I want to be very clear. In 2023 into 2024, Internet Computer did massive moves to the upside, right? We went from $2, $3, up to $20+. So about an 8x in the price. Now, maybe you didn't take any profits there. That's probably, you need to kind of go back to your investment thesis to kind of understand why you didn't take profits and then what you can do in the future. Because if we are entering another bull run, the price is going to go up massively. But then it's going to correct, right? It's going to pump up and then it's going to pump down and then we'll find a new floor. Right now, we're still at all-time record lows in the $4 or $5 range, right? Even though the all-time record lows were in the $2 range. The difference between $2 and $5, not really that big of a difference, right? And we are really trying to target like a $40 or $50 level in Internet Computer to know that the ecosystem of developers outside of Internet Computer's ecosystem, investors, companies, that they understand what this capability and the technology of this network is. Now, just a few weeks ago, we talked about Bitcoin on the Internet Computer because Internet Computer uses a different interoperability kind of system than you see with Ethereum and Ethereum adjacent chains that use bridges and chain link to connect one chain to another. One of the very unique things about the Internet Computer is that Internet Computer can read and write on other blockchains natively. Now, a few weeks ago, we talked about a hack on a protocol that was connecting internet computer to the Bitcoin ecosystem. Now, there's a lot of people in the internet computer ecosystem that are in complete and utter denial that there was any hack. They'll say, but Cryptoviser, the hack wasn't an internet computer, it was the protocol. Guys, it doesn't matter whether it was the protocol or not. There was a hack within the ecosystem of internet computer and connected to internet computer. It's a hack, right? But the mega bulls, it's not a hack Cryptoviser. This is Bitcoin side. It's like Bitcoin never got hacked. Okay. Yes, it was a protocol on internet computer, but to like pretend that there wasn't a hack is complete and utter ridiculousness. But again, we could be at the top of the crypto cycle at the end of 2025, and maybe that's where all of this nonsense comes in. But the good thing is, the very good thing, is shortly after the hack of that ecosystem of about 50 Bitcoin, 50 Bitcoin, about $5 to $6 million in value, Internet Computer was able to recover, and not just recover, but recover even more Bitcoin locked into the Internet Computer than it had before the hack. Now, I don't know how they got it back, if they actually recovered the Bitcoin that was stolen, or whether developers and insiders and investors kind of put the money up to kind of correct and move past the issue. But either way, we went from pre-hack 486 Bitcoin to now 514 Bitcoin. So we've recovered completely from the hack and even more. Now, this is another all-time record high for Internet Computer, with 514 Bitcoin locked in and interoperating between the Bitcoin network and the Internet Computer network. Now, obviously, I believe that Dfinity probably stepped in here and went to correct some of these issues, because Dfinity is working on a very high level to interoperate and become the infrastructure layer for AI compute in blockchain and decentralized compute. They want to be the main network for that. And so what I said in that video about the hack was that wasn't the protocol or the program, the interoperability program's first hack. It was like their fourth or fifth hack in this year. And what I said in that video was that Dfinity probably needs to step in. They need to step in and either take control of that product that keeps getting hacked, or basically tell the developer, like, you either are going to fix this under our control or you're off of the network. Maybe not this directly, but that's basically what I felt Dfinity needed to do. Because at the end of the day, whether the hack was internet computer hack or it was a protocol on internet computer, it's still a bad look. And the fact that that protocol had multiple issues told me that it needed to be addressed. And to me, it seems like Dfinity stepped in. Whether they did or didn't, I don't know. This is all just speculation. It's just my opinion on the matter. But the fact that we're now above where we were pre that Bitcoin hack tells me that Dfinity probably did step in here, which is good, which is very good and very positive. And one of the things that is great about the Internet Computer's ecosystem is that they have a developer and a development company, Dfinity, that is very engaged with what is going on in the ecosystem and directing the development of the ecosystem, right? I don't think that they're saying to people like, you can't build this, but if there's issues like a hack, they're going to step in and be like, we're not going to have another hack. Okay, so you're either going to work with us and we're going to help you fix this and do things the right way, or you're getting off of this network. One way or another, it's going to be fixed. That's what I imagine occurred. And I think that that's needed, because you have other ecosystems, there's no vision, there's no guidance, right? And we talk about a lot of these ecosystems on the regular. We can talk about XRP. Ripple has a vision, Ripple has a path forward, but XRP does not, because Ripple continues to sell XRP on the open market, and they haven't been very clear how they're going to force or implement inclusion of XRP in RippleNet. They've said that they may in the future, but they still haven't done that. With Cardano, there is somewhat of a guidance from like Charles and like, oh, we're gonna go for this, we're gonna go for this, but there's no real, like IO Global, Cardano Foundation, and Emergo. Neither one of them, maybe IO Global the most, But none of the entities within the Cardano ecosystem are really driving the vision. They create a vision, and then it's like, we're going to achieve this, but there's no deadlines to achieve it. And so we're still trying to achieve things that they were trying to achieve 5 years ago. And so when we see Dfinity involved here at this level, it makes me very confident in the capabilities and the future progress of this network, because you have like a manager of the network to make sure things are going properly and to make sure goals are being achieved. This is the same thing that we're seeing in Chainlink, right? With Chainlink, foundation or company behind Chainlink, Sergey is there. Sergey, the founder of Chainlink, is pushing the direction, pushing the vision. And now he's been involved in pretty much every White House meeting about crypto. And now we have the Commerce Department in the United States deploying economic data to the blockchain using Chainlink. And so having these developers or development companies or like network managers, and I say this with quotations, while people think about decentralization as like there's nobody controlling the network, you have to have people controlling the network. You have to have people driving the vision. I mean, even in Bitcoin ecosystem, you have the micro sailors who are like, let's just buy the Bitcoin, buy the Bitcoin, buy the Bitcoin. And then you have the core developers that are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, we have to make sure that the network is safe and that we're not going to have concentration all in one entity and all of these kind of things, right? So there's counterbalances here. But the bottom line is, when you have a development team that is highly engaged and committed to making this work, boom, within 2 weeks, we are now at all-time record highs in terms of Bitcoin that is locked in and interoperated on the internet computer ecosystem. I mean, people were whining 2 weeks ago, Cryptoviser, we didn't have a hack. How dare you say we had a hack, instead of saying, let's fix this. And that's exactly what Dfinity did. They went in, they corrected the issue, and boom, not only did they recover in whatever way they recovered the Bitcoin, but they actually got more Bitcoin back or integrated into internet computer than there was before. So great job to that. Amazing stuff. And by the way, 514 Bitcoin, let's do the math on that. 514 Bitcoin times about $110,000 when I'm recording this video, it's $56 million interoperated from internet computer to the Bitcoin network. This is amazing, right? Is it at the level that Ethereum is? No, Ethereum has billions and billions in DeFi. But we're seeing steady and consistent growth. You can see that on this chart. And I think that this is a very positive thing. Another metric that we're seeing really starting to ramp up is the internet computer burn rate. This user, icterminal.com, said Internet Computer Protocol saw the largest ever daily burn, with about 90,000 internet computer removed from the supply in just 24 hours, a sharp deviation from historical averages. And so what will this tell us? You can see on this chart here, massive move to the upside, really massive move to the upside. Well, we have to first understand what the coin burning mechanism actually means. But before we do that, Fabio from Zero to Hero, another internet computer mega bull, he said, we burned 90,000 internet computer in 1 day. However, one swallow doesn't make spring. So let's not rush things. I need to see the CBR increasing, cycles burn rate, increasing steadily on a daily basis, which is not the case at the moment. The Caffeine AI launch should have a decent impact on the cycle burn rate. And I'm going to explain all of these burn rates in just a minute. This project, Internet Computer, needs more users, developers, and investors. Oftentimes I hear the community criticizing Dfinity for their marketing strategy or lack of. I believe they chose a different path when it comes down to marketing. Anyway, due to the wow effect of Caffeine AI, this product should not be hard to market to the masses. Once Caffeine AI is live, this and many other charts will tell us in which direction we are moving. He said, I'm not talking about the price chart. There are certain metrics that he's tracking for long-term investors, which would matter much more than short-term price movements. Now, I somewhat agree with what Fabio's saying here. I definitely have criticized Internet Computer for their marketing and their non-clear vision of marketing, because I think that Caffeine AI could have been marketed a lot better. Like I said, June there was a launch, July there was a launch, and supposedly there's still no public launch of this product. But again, I've done other videos where I think the video was called ICP, the infrastructure layer. And in that video, I came to the realization that Internet Computer is not trying, like caffeine AI is a proof of concept in my view. I really don't think that Internet Computer is relying or looking to caffeine AI to solve all their problems. Because as I've said before, caffeine AI is not really the app that's going to kill the rest of crypto. Because there's other large language models very similar to caffeine AI that are not on Internet Computer that can also code programs and dApps and websites and all of that. So it's not unique to Internet Computer, the large language model, Caffeine AI. And I actually don't even think Caffeine AI is the mega product that we're looking for. I think it's the proof of concept. Because what we're seeing is other ecosystems like Fetch AI, which is part of the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, which was 3 AI blockchains coming together in 2024 to create the mega AI ecosystem. But what we just found out was that Fetch AI, which is the main company or main crypto or blockchain involved in the ASI product, they are actually currently actively using ICP. It's not like they are like just testing ICP. They're using Internet Computer. So Fetch AI has their own large language model called ASI-1. That's a large language model not running on the Internet Computer, but it utilizes the Internet Computer network for the compute and for the, I guess, hosting and distribution of their it's basically using the back end for internet of the AI with Internet Computer. It's not using Fetch AI as the back end. It's using Internet Computer as the back end, which is very interesting because that tells me that my thesis seems to be valid recently, that Internet Computer is not trying to create an AI large language model that's going to change the world. They just want to show you that you can run a large language model on the Internet Computer. So they're the infrastructure layer for all of AI. And so if ICP can achieve this through Hedera, through ASI-1, through Fetch AI, and potentially many others, this is going to change everything. And I think it already is. Again, this is what I am starting to realize. Apparently, many of you already realize that ICP wants to become the infrastructure layer, and it seems like that's what they're trying to do. But again, I don't think they're marketing this correctly. And I don't mean marketing by like hiring a marketing agency. I just mean communicating this in a very clear and concise manner, like what they're trying to achieve. And maybe that part of the reason is because Dfinity doesn't even know what the full vision looks like. They know where they want to be, but I don't know they know how they're going to get there. Just like when you're creating a business, you know you want to be a successful business, but you don't know how you're going to get there. And so you test things. Some things work, some things don't. You got to pivot, you have to move, you have to change, you have to adjust. That's the part of doing business. So with Caffeine AI launching and then launching again and then still not being publicly accessible, I don't think that it was ever meant to be like the killer app. I think that they're just doing this to raise awareness of what Internet Computer's capabilities are. And I think that's a very smart method to go, because then you have all these other companies, they want to create the AI. But once they realize how much data space you need, data centers, bandwidth, compute power, how much money that costs, they're like, okay, forget it. This is why we're seeing expansion of these Bitcoin mining companies pivoting to AI. They don't want to create the large language models. They don't want to even create an AI company. They are going to be the picks and the shovels. Remember, more money was made in the gold rush by selling the shovels and the picks to go find the gold than people made actually mining the gold themselves. And so the AI technology is one piece, but then the AI infrastructure is the other piece. And so all these Bitcoin mining companies that are pivoting to AI, they're doing it, in my view, very smart because they can make money whether we're in a bull market or bear market for crypto. And all of these other companies are looking for data space to then go and host these AI models. And so if you don't even have to worry about any of the back end of how the AI computes and then runs things, you're 10 steps ahead. And so if internet computer can be that infrastructure or the decentralized infrastructure model for AI, all of the AI companies are going to at least test, if not utilize, maybe not fully, maybe partial, the internet computer as the compute network. And that is, I think, where internet computer needs to market. And by the way, I'm sure that Dfinity, by the way, has a lot of things happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. I'm sure they're having a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings with a lot of different companies to see what ICP or how ICP can be integrated with these other products, or how these other products can be integrated with ICP. That is huge. And by the way, it's not just me saying this. All of the network metrics are showing us that internet computer and Dfinity are preparing to become the infrastructure layer. Number one, they have a power consumption dashboard on the network. Number two, transaction volume and throughput has been steadily and heavily increasing over the last year. Number three, cycle burn rate, and as well as the ICP burn rate. Remember, to process on the network, to utilize the computational power of internet computer, you need to burn ICP, which creates a cycle. Cycle is similar to gas on the Ethereum network. Then the cycle pays the node operators to process whatever computation it needs to process. And then when the cycle is used for computation, the cycle is burned, and then it converts back to ICP for payment. So the more ICP we see burned should correlate with more cycles being burned. If we're not seeing more cycles being burned, then it means the computation is not being used. The computational power of the network is not being used. But that it seems like there may be preparation for computational power. So what we want to see is similar to what Fabio is saying here. We want to see the ICP burn rate increase, which we have. It went basically from like highs of 10,000 ICP burned a day to 90,000 ICP burned in a day. So they're converting 90,000 ICP coins, which translates to roughly about $400,000 in US at the time I'm recording this video. They're converting that into gas for the ICP ecosystem, which is called cycles. So why would they be creating computational payment coins if they weren't preparing to launch some type of or utilize the computation of the network? Probably because they are ready and about to do something that we can't foresee just yet, but it seems like the network is telling us what they're going to do. Again, Bitcoin recovered even more than what they were, the protocol was hacked for, right? And I'm not saying internet computer protocol, I'm saying the chain key or whatever got hacked, something got hacked. We've recovered. Cycle burn rate is moving higher as well. You can see that. Let's pull it up for the last 3 months. So you can see over the last 3 months, we've had a decrease in cycle burn rate. Now, a lot of that I would imagine has to do with the fact that from I would say the second quarter until the third quarter, there was a lot of testing of Caffeine AI. And Caffeine AI is computational power for the internet computer. But if we pull this back to 1 year, you can see that the cycle burn rate is significantly lower than where we were at the beginning of 2025, the end of 2024. And this is when they didn't even have Caffeine AI or have Fetch using internet computer or have Hedera using internet computer. This was before all of that. And so we're still at very low lows. I mean, literally historical lows in the term of cycle burn rate. And again, The cycle burn rate is the rate at which cycles are being burned on the internet computer. Cycles are burned when canister smart contracts consume resources such as computation, memory, and storage. The burn rate is measured in trillions of cycles per second. And so this is, I think, what Fabio is talking about, that we need to see sustained growth in the cycle burn rate. And I think that we will as more AI is deployed on the internet computer blockchain. But to me, I'm seeing consistent growth, consistent innovation, consistent pivoting, consistent involvement from the main developer and the founding like team at Internet Computer, at Dfinity. And these are all very positive signs. So going back to the title of this video, Internet Computer is entering a bull market. We have to understand that while, yes, most of crypto is following the cycle of Bitcoin, I think we're starting to see detachments from that. And I think that we're starting to see some of these other ecosystems as they become more integrated with traditional finance and traditional business outside of just the blockchain ecosystem. I think that we're going to see a lot of different things going on here. The other thing to keep in mind is that AI, in the general sense, is a little bit of a bubble, right? A lot of companies haven't figured out how they can monetize this. The difference between like OpenAI trying to figure out a business model and Internet Computer is Internet Computer doesn't need to create the AI itself. That's what OpenAI is doing. But OpenAI, they not only need to create the AI technology and the coding themselves, but they also have to have the infrastructure for all of this, and ever-growing infrastructure, right? Because the more servers you build, the better the AI gets, the more servers it will need, the more bandwidth it will need, the more information that you run in and it trains on, the more info it needs. And so it's similar to Bitcoin mining, because as time goes on, the difficulty of mining increases. There's new machines that can mine better than the old machines, so it's a constant evolution. So if you're trying to do everything all at once, like OpenAI, it's very difficult. And that's why we see Google just partnered with TeraWulf on something like an 80-year contract, which is like mind-boggling. And they took a 15 or 14% stake in TeraWulf. And TeraWulf is going to be an infrastructure provider for their AI compute. And so Google doesn't even want to own those facilities themselves. They just want to utilize companies that can deal with the infrastructure. That way they can deal with the technology, the front end, while TeraWulf deals with the back end. This is the same thing happening with Internet Computer, it appears. And therefore, even though AI itself may be in a bubble, the infrastructure for AI is at the very beginning. And that is something where I'm looking at Internet Computer and looking at all the metrics that we just talked about, looking at the throughput, looking at the advancement and the rapid advancement of the speed of the network, the throughput of the network, the infrastructure layers of the network. We just saw a network reorganization in the past few months to bring subnets, much more subnets, basically meaning more node operations for the network, jurisdiction-specific node operations. That way, the Internet Computer can be specific to European data privacy laws, US data privacy laws, and more. They're not just doing this for fun. I feel like they're doing this because they know where this is leading. And if they get the technology right, the price is going to follow. And so as AI continues to grow in the general markets outside of crypto, outside of blockchain, if Internet Computer can achieve dominance in this decentralized compute sector and continue to get more onboarding of different protocols, different programs, different large language models to utilize the computational power and storage capabilities of the Internet Computer. More usage means more buying, which means more ICP burn, more cycles burn, more usage. Everything will go up. And so we are literally at historical lows in terms of the price, cycles burn, and some other metrics. but other metrics that are showing us where the network is moving towards are telling us, telling me at least, I don't know about you, probably many of you agree, that Internet Computer and DFINITY are preparing for domination in the AI infrastructure space. And therefore, the bull run for Internet Computer starts when people realize that. We are realizing that right now. When the rest of crypto, when the rest of blockchain realize that, and I don't know what is going to be the catalyst for people to realize this, but we know banks are heavily interested in what Internet Computer is doing. Not just one bank, multiple banks. Citibank, to name one. I posted a video when Caffeine AI first launched in June. Citibank sent their employees to the World Computer Summit, the Internet Computer Conference. And people, I posted that on my channel, and people are like, no way, Cryptoviser. They were just, this guy was there on his own time. 2 months later or 2 weeks later, the chief financial officer at Citibank was on one of the financial news channels saying, oh yeah, we're heavily involved in blockchain and we think this technology could be great. And I'm like, whoa, there's a lot going on there. We have companies looking at Internet Computer. We have other competing blockchains, artificial superintelligence. They're utilizing the back-end infrastructure for Internet Computer. I don't know how people don't see it yet, but they will. And when they do, the bull run is full on. And again, I'm not talking about crypto bull run or Bitcoin bull run. I'm talking about Internet Computer bull run. And we may be very close to that point. Because from September, remember, 2023, we bottomed in September and we peaked in early 2024. And we're in that same time frame this year. Maybe it'll happen this year, maybe we'll wait till next year, but it's going to happen. I mean, there's no reason we're seeing all the metrics on Internet Computer going up and to the right. And they're just building all this technology just for fun. No, they're building this and they're building out the network very, very strategically. Right now, 700 node machines around the world, 96 node providers, 85 data centers. If you don't see what's happening, you're going to miss out. And I'm not saying what you should do with your investment portfolio, because many of us have been invested in Internet Computer for many years. Many of us have traded Internet Computer for many years. Maybe many of us have started being skeptical of Internet Computer after the crash, as was I. But now the vision is clear. And not only is the vision clear, but the execution is even clearer. Hack a few weeks ago on one of the protocols that utilize chain key cryptography, and boom, we're now above the pre-hack numbers with $56 million just locked in Bitcoin interoperability with Internet Computer. And it's been steadily growing. While if you look and go to DeFi Llama, let's just go to DeFi Llama because I want you guys to see the data. So if you go to DeFi Llama and we look at Ethereum, the number one DeFi ecosystem, the number one ecosystem people are locking their coins into, we're seeing a reduction. You guys can see that on the screen right here, right here. In April of 2025, 28 million Ether were locked in. Now we're at 20 million Ether. That's a big reduction. Solana, pull up the number of Solana in DeFi, starting to level out. Let's look at Bitcoin DeFi, probably going higher because, yeah, it's brand new. But you can see Internet Computer is still a very small portion of all of Bitcoin DeFi, right? All of Bitcoin DeFi is 70,000 Bitcoin locked. Internet Computer is 500 of those Bitcoin. So I think that means that there's a lot of room to grow for Internet Computer and their chain key cryptography and their connectivity from Bitcoin to the ICP. But the general gist of this video is that Internet Computer is going to enter a bull run. And I think it's getting closer and closer and closer. And I think it's going to be based on the AI infrastructure model, not Caffeine AI, although that's a great product, but I think it's more of a proof of concept. Because the real big aha moment for me was seeing Fetch AI and ASI1 utilizing the Internet Computer. I was like, oh yeah, it's over. It's over. There's even ASI in over a year couldn't even get to the point where they said, we're going to build out our infrastructure. They just gave up. They said, let's use Internet Computer because Internet Computer is clearly the best. And if they didn't think that, why would they be using the internet computer? Anyway, let me know if you're as bullish as I am on internet computer. Don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss a new video, and consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join or subscribe plus button down below. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Invest responsibly, do your own research, and as always, crypto on.